Okay, we're all set. Good afternoon to everyone. I hope you all hear me well. Please note. Yes. Great. My name is Mohammed, and to the left of me is Solmaz Aliyeva. She is the chairperson of Young Accountants Union of Azerbaijan, and I'm the director of Baku-based law company called MG Consulting, and I'll be your moderator for today. Before giving the floor to each of you, I would like to introduce you to agenda of today's discussion. So this event has been organized, this online discussion has been organized by Young Accountants Union and a local NGO called Eurasia International Relations and Research. And the idea is to discuss and share the experience of impact of coronavirus COVID-19 to civil society, to business in various countries. And our administrator gave me information that we expect 10 countries in today's call, covering really various continents from US, Europe to Asia. And here I would like to give the floor to each of you, and let's also set a 2-minute rule for introduction. Kindly ask each of you to introduce yourself, your organization or company, and your country. And we will start from there. Let's start with Azamat, please. Azamat?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Just a moment. Let me. Yeah. Let me turn on my video first.
Yes, Azamat. Could you briefly introduce yourself, your company, your country?
Hello, guys. My name is Azamat Talibov. I am from Uzbekistan, and I actually do not necessarily represent an organization in Uzbekistan. I'm actually a master's student at the University of Iceland, currently residing in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. And I'm really concerned with the the problems related to COVID-19, but not necessarily the issue of itself, but rather its implications in our economy and environmental issues as well, because it's taught us important lessons not only to us Uzbeks, but the people in the world.
Absolutely, Azamat. And we will give floor to you again when you give examples of your country, what kind of measures your country took with regard to preventing this virus, how it affected lives of people, business, and organizations. Thank you for the introductory words. Now, please, Doron.
Hi. Yes. I just unmuted myself.
Thank you.
I'm Doron. I'm from Israel. I'm the owner and the CEO of an agriculture consultancy company. We had also 2 projects in Azerbaijan in the past.
Okay.
Together with me is also Dr. Evyatar Itiel, who is our chief agronomist. He will introduce himself when you'll tell him. Our company is mainly dealing with agricultural consultancy for growers or companies or governments all over the world, especially in Europe, in Africa, in the Far East. And like every other country, we suffer from the coronavirus. And I will talk, together with Evyatar, we will talk later about the effect of this on the Israeli agriculture.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Let's give floor to Ekaterina, please.
Hello, everyone. I am from Russia, and I work in the field of cultural industries. I have my company, and we make celebrations. We do team buildings for companies. And I also very interested how we can implement new strategies for our business, because nowadays our situation changed a lot.
Yes. Thank you, Katerina. And I can assume that cultural industry is one of the areas that was seriously affected by coronavirus. Thank you. Let's give the floor now to Eviatar. Please, yeah. Dr. Eviatar.
Hello, everybody. I am actually working together with Sektorun in the area of agriculture, mainly on worldwide projects whenever they come. I'm involved in different companies which I'm doing freelancing for. Mm-hmm. Right now, everybody is at home because of the aviation problems and movement problems. I suppose in maybe later we will expand on that, how it will affect agriculture projects.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but I suppose it will.
Yes. Let's give floor to Firuza, please. Firuza?
Hello. Hello. Yes. I'm from Uzbekistan, and I'm here representing of experts of social sector of Tashkent city. Mm-hmm. We also, Tashkent become on 2019 become member of global network of learning cities. Also, I'm the CEO of IQTI, Uzbekistan Teachers of English Association, mm-hmm. and we are part of the Sustainable Development Goals of UNESCO from 2000, I think.
Thank you very much.
Millennium, so we are together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
I also do the expertise of national experts on educational sphere.
Okay.
Everything according to the SDGs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Firuza. Let's give floor to Halima, please. Hi, it's from our team. Okay. Hazrina, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hazrina. I'm from Indonesia. And currently I'm working as human capital in Pertamina Patraniaga. It's an oil and gas company. I think it's #1 in Indonesia. So I'm here represent as employee from my company.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, please, Jaba, Kamar Jobat.
Hello, my name is Jaba. I am from Georgia, and I work in a non-government organization. Its name is Union of Democrat Miscs. We work about civil society, about youth engagement in civil society activities. And what's about economy? We have no experience, but we have experience of life, and we know what's happening around the world, around our country, our region, and we can share this experience with you too. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Let's give floor to Matias, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matias Fernandez. I'm from Sevilla, the south of Spain. Currently, I'm the administrator of a company, or the engineering company. We provide services of different industrial development to different sectors, like as oil and gas, or nuclear, or water around the world. We are starting right now with this kind of project because I had experience in different companies before. As you know, in Spain is one of the most affected countries because of the COVID-19. I'm very, very interested about the different measures that you are taking in your countries, in your company. So I am very, very interested about this conference.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you very much. Now, Muhammad Ali, please.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, you speak English, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Muhammad Ali. I am the manager of the International Islamic Charitable Organization, the Uzbekistan branch. I'm glad to meet you. I'm very glad to meet everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Muhammad Ali. Nato, please.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to being with you. I represent a non-governmental organization from Georgia. I'm colleague of Jabba, and as he mentioned, we work on civil society issues with youth participation, strengthening local government, and I think that we have important role now in fighting about the results that coronavirus has. So participating in this conference is very interesting for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we give the floor to Parviz, please. Parviz?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Parviz from Azerbaijan, representing currently Azerbaijan Farmer Association as the chairman. Now we are also interested in to talk about in Azerbaijan coronavirus effects on the agriculture with other colleagues together and so on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Parviz. We introduced everyone, right? Is there anyone who didn't introduce himself? I believe we're all there. Okay, so now if you don't mind, I would like to ask each of you, and as I said, we have 10 countries represented, to share very briefly, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, about effect of coronavirus on business, civil society, measures taken by the government in your country. And for example, to give you an example of Azerbaijan, since mid-March, we are in quarantine regime. So people have to stay at home, and particularly people above 65, they cannot go out to the streets. And recently the government introduced a SMS permission system for 3 purposes: for seeing a doctor, for doing shopping, and for attending funerals. And the permission initially was issued for 2 hours per day, nights for 3 hours a day. So if someone has a SMS permission, they can go outside. And some areas of life, for example, some government bodies, or let's say some customs related companies, they have special permission from e-government portal. And during the weekdays, they are able to go to their offices and come back. But of course, this virus has seriously affected the economy, and the government has introduced a number of mechanisms to support business in Azerbaijan, for example, by paying salaries of staff or paying compensation for business. And now the parliament is considering additional package of recommendations which concerns simplification or tax exemptions for a number of taxes, including property tax, profit tax, land tax, as well as permitted delays in submission of tax declarations. So I will not go much into details of Azerbaijan experience at the moment. I will come back with more information later on. But now I would like to give the floor to Doron and Evitar to share with us the experience of Israel. Please, how coronavirus affected your life, your business, your communities and organizations, and what does the government do in order to prevent it and to mitigate the impact on lives and economy?
Okay, I will start, Yyata, with your permission.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I will talk on a very specific point of view of on the agriculture side of the effects of the virus, and I'm dividing it to 2 parts. First part, as a grower, I have a mango farm. We grow mangoes, and how it affects the growers in general, not only mangoes, but in general. And the government means that we did were similar to Azerbaijan, what you described. I mean, there was a closure. Now there is a release, a small release of the closure. People are allowed to go out, they're allowed to go shopping more. I mean, with all the masks and all the prevention means, etc. It is not now for the moment to talk. The main problem was a shortage in working hands regarding harvesting the crops in the fields. And many growers found themselves without ability to harvest the crops, and therefore a lot of crop is actually rotting in the fields. The second problem or challenge that we had was, since many of the marketing nets, especially the big supermarkets and the chains of supermarkets, they first of all increased prices on one hand, and they sometimes even preferred to import products, agricultural products that are existing here in Israel. And it forced actually the growers to start and directly market the products to the households. And that is something that refers to the crops that are for the local market. Crops that are usually grown for exporting, on that there was no, actually there was even a bigger exporting part, because in Europe, due to the fact that people are staying at home and most of our products are going to west of Europe, to the western countries of Europe, we saw an increase in exporting because the Europeans are buying more food because they're staying at home. So far, it's my part. Evyatar, please.
Thank you. Very,
your
very
perspective.
Yeah. I would say is my angle of looking. I'm more in horticulture crops, not in food crops. There was a problem of marketing during the peak of the crisis because people didn't go out, they reduced the demand, and actually in some crops like flowers, for example, the market stopped completely. It means growers that grew flowers, they stayed with their flowers and just told everybody, come and pick what you like, free. In most other crops, I would say like potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, actually we didn't see a big effect so far. We are the farmers, they are with foreign labor hands, labor that harvest, mainly people from Thailand, Thai people. And when the crisis started and we closed the skies, actually they were forced to stay here. So we had enough workers, but in other seasonal, like Doron said, wherever you have seasonal peak in demand for labor hands, there was shortage. So it has various effects, but I wouldn't say the total impact is not clear yet. is not clear. Worldwide is a different picture. Maybe later we can talk, but this is what is happening in Israel. All animal husbandry is going on, like dairy farms, chicken, fish, everything is going well. We are now harvesting cereals, so you don't see big impact. Okay, for now.
Thank you very much, Doran and Avatar. Indeed, very interesting.
Yes.
That in one area of life, it has different impact.
Yes.
Depending on the nature of the products and the harvesting. Thank you very much. Let's give floor to Stephen, please.
Okay, you can hear me? Oh, yes. So I can answer the first and the second question in one go?
Yes, please describe the impact of virus on your economy, on your organization or company, and what measures are government taking?
Okay, yes, we'll do that. So first of all, I am Steven, I'm from Estonia. I am an engineer. I work in heavy industry. We produce and manufacture forestry and earth-moving equipment. And I personally engage in product development. As well, I have established a few startups that are also connected abroad. I will come back to the supply chain later. And previously, I have been part of various NGOs. So I am familiar with their activities, but nowadays I'm more in private sector and manufacturing. So about this COVID and how it's affecting, since we engage in manufacturing and the products consist of hundreds, if not thousands of pieces, then some of them come abroad and the supply chain is greatly affected at the moment. We don't have that big of a problem with workforce or laborers because they are more specialized in our company and we are not letting them go that easily. However, if we need something now, if we need to order bought parts or if we need to send our products, then this is now difficult. For the startups, let's say they order a lot of stuff from abroad that are printed or electronic components, etc. It takes 1 week or two now. Like the thing, whatever you order, the package can arrive to Estonia in 3 days. But let's say the local distribution is so slow that it's like 1 to 2 weeks because everything is done by mail now. Since the virus has forced people into homes, into home offices, and the lack of movement outside has caused this that everything is ordered to home, you know. So literally starting from food, ending with whatever you need, like clothes or appliances or whatever. So the package delivery and mailing system is booming here at the moment. However, it is making supply chain slow. This, however, is not, this is like a minor issue in that sense, because in near future, we are extremely doubtful of the orders. So we are actually at the moment considering to change our manufacturing, to pivot in that sense from machinery to small size constructions. Let's say we will take a building sector. Instead of machinery, now we will start shifting between sectors. We will take in more diverse orders and we will do like a bigger variety of things out of steel and metal because one sector doesn't supply enough orders anymore. So it would cover the passive expenses of a company. Yeah? So we are also expanding our accepted range of accepted services or manufacture to produce and manufacture products that we didn't not used to do, you know. And this, for this kind of manufacturing companies, it's not, we are not the only one here who is actually pivoting or changing their perspective in that sense.
Thank you very much, Steven. Let's give floor to Matthias, please.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, yes.
In Spain, we had a lot of problems with this situation. I suppose that the same the other countries, but according to the number that I see every day in the TVs, it's very terrible, our situation. We are not allowed to travel to more than 100 countries right now, so the exportation, the abroad market, or different possibility to work in different projects that, I don't know, manufacturing in different countries that is not Spain. It's impossible right now. So the different measures that Spain is taking right now to try to reduce the consequences of virus is very, very similar to another countries, but we don't see too much result about that. For example, we today we have lockdown 50 days. We had the second country with infected people. So the country is bit a bit slowly taking back to the normal situation, but probably we are gonna spend 2 months more probably with the same. For example, the country is delayed all the period to renovation, the passport, for pay any taxes, for this freezing the country. The government freezing the country to try to the people don't waste money, or because a lot of people is without work right now. For example, from my country, brain engineers, we had applied before that a kind of measure to try to reduce the consequence for us. From the beginning, we are applied different online technologies, online application to try to work with different customers, with different workers around the world. For example, we are working with a Uruguay company that manufacture a kind of industrial equipment. We are gonna hiring people from Asia, from Russia, from Africa, for different countries by human resources application in order to try to not to be in contact with people, to try to reduce the consequence of virus. So in these kinds of measures, empowering the online relations, we are gonna try to not stop our services and our work, our company.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you very much. Let's give floor to Hazrina, so she shares the example of Indonesia. Hazrina, please.
Okay, so I will tell how the coronavirus came to Indonesia. On 2nd of March, Indonesia President announced the first 2 confirmed cases of the disease in Indonesia. And after that, the government formed a COVID-19 operational task force, who led by the head of the National Board for Disaster Management. And the president also announced about national social distancing, which working, studying, and workshopping we have to do at home. And also we have to postponing any activity involving a large number of participants. And on 20th of March, the governor declared a state of emergency in the capital city of Indonesia. He advised to all corporate office and entertainment venues such as cinema, bars, and karaoke rooms to remain closed, and public religious activities that may lead to a large gathering to be suspended for the following 2 weeks at the first time, but now I think it expand until 22 of May. Because of that, it has hit many sectors in Indonesia. For example, like factories in Indonesia getting slowed down, like industrial production, sales, and investment has fallen compared to the last period in 2019 before the virus appeared in December. And the second sector in Indonesia is the travel sector decreasing during to COVID-19. Like airlines have been cutting flights, and like a lot of business travel has been canceled. And from the Central Statistical Agency recorded a fall of 7.26% in foreign visitors last January 2020, and about the financial crisis, according to Ministry of Manpower, as many as 5.2 million in Indonesia have lost their jobs due to this coronavirus. And then because I'm working at oil and gas company, it has a big impact for our company, where COVID-19 has caused oil price to crash very sharply, and it has had a major impact on the corporate profits because of declining corporate revenues slowdown. But we have to pay, like human resources continue to be met. Moreover, there are additional costs to prevent COVID-19, like we did rapid tests to all of the employees, and we also providing like giving some extra fooding to employee who came to the office. And how our companies handle this issue, because of people are still buying oil and gas in Indonesia, so we can take this moment to buy some oil from overseas, and then we can sell it after this coronavirus has ended. So yeah, and
thank you very much.
Actually,
Yes, you wanted to add something?
No.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Hazrina mentioned about emergency situation, and I have the report by the International Center for Non-for-Profit Law, which is called Civic Freedom Tracker, and it gives very interesting statistics, which I want to read to you. So as of today, there are 82 countries in the world that declared emergency due to coronavirus. And 111 countries took measures that affect assembly, so right to assembly of people. Whereas there are 29 countries in the world that took measures affecting freedom of expression. And 23 countries took measures that affect privacy. So these are just basic statistics around the globe. Now I'd like to give the floor to Ekaterina from Russia. Russia is a big country, and let's see how they are facing with this challenge. Please, Ekaterina.
Yes, we have different rules for different regions. Now I'm in Moscow region, so it's like cities around Moscow. And here you should have a special permission. It's an electronic pass to go somewhere, not to go to shop, but if you need to visit your family, you should order this electronic pass for 2 hours or for 5 hours, or you can, if you work, you can order it for 1 day. And you should also have a special permission for your car. It's a QR code which you should show to a person who asks whatever the person. It can be it can be any person who is responsible for governmental control, and you should show this QR code to and say that for you it's free to go. So, and some people are depressed with these things. What about work? For us, we have delay of taxes and delay of rent payment, which is good, and also delay of payment loans. But now we don't have any events, any cultural celebrations, which we used to do before, and we try to make it online, and it takes time to make it online. Also, I've noticed that a lot of people got fired without any financial support. About 30% of people go to unpaid vacation, and ruble, our currency, it became cheaper, almost 10% in comparison to euro. So it's similar to crisis in 1990s. Also, with what I wanted to notice, that some people don't take it too serious, and they don't take enough responsibility to wear a mask and prevent this virus, and it's very sad. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Ekaterina. Very interesting. Let's give floor to our colleagues from Georgia. Jaba or Nato, who of you prefer to share experience? Jaba, please.
Nato will share our experience about this because my English is not good, and I will be listening to you.
Yes, great. Nato, please.
Okay, we're about situation in Georgia. First of all, I would like to say that it's not very different from other countries. We're about our regulations that are made during this coronavirus is that we have kind of demands that we are obliged to have is kind of commandant hour, and after 9 o'clock at evening, we cannot go outside, and also during 1 week there was a restriction driving by the small cars, and now this restriction is not valid, and now we are allowed to use our cars. And what about economic crisis? In our country, the most powerful economic platform is agriculture. And in some regions which are producer of agricultural products had problems because the farmers had the opportunity to buy their products, and these products was damaging, so they have kind of actions against it, but after that the government said that big marketer, there is some the kind of market, agro-market, bought this kind of vegetables and fruits, and they are selling in the whole country. But it is not a solution, and we have two problems connected to the agriculture, and you know that this is time that farmers are sitting and some kind of work they are doing, and they had problems because there's kind of restrictions, and some cities are blocked because the spreading the coronavirus in these cities are very high. So these problems are connected to the restrictions, but on the other hand, about the employability. Many people, many citizens in Georgia lost their jobs, and this is very bad situation, and our government have offered to the citizens this kind of solution, that the government will give each citizen who lost his or her job $200 in each month during 6 months. And also who has also in this situation the jobs, the income taxes will not be cut from their salary. And also another regulation there is for this situation is that citizens who were employed, who were self-employed, they will give $300 to them, which will be once, but we think that it's not necessary, and this cannot solve the problems that citizens have. This is shortly what can I say about the situation.
Thank you for this information. Now we give the floor, please, to Uzbekistan, and since we have 3 participants, who of you prefer to speak? Azamat, Firuza, or Muhammad Ali? Maybe Firuza? Hello? Yes.
Hello again to everybody. Thank you very much for involving us into that very good conversation, which is showing us that we are the global citizens, all of us, and working together by our thoughts and praise, education, services, and everything. So what I can say that in Uzbekistan, the government, as soon as we have noticed on the 14th of March, I think the first virus was recognized. The lady who was in France came here, and then she applied to the hospital. In 2 days, as I have noticed that in 2 days, the government organized coordinating committee on the level of the government and started working. In March 16th, we had already quarantine for everybody, especially for educational sectors, social sectors, everywhere. But of course, the government needed time to coordinate. They have involved special foundation, how to support the people, what to do, and they have started to build the hospitals. Including, I remember that in 1 week we have recorded more than 1,000 lessons for children of public education and the other education. So all the teachers were involved, all the volunteers, professors were involved by recording their classes to show. And nowadays, after 2 months, we can see that all business people also recorded their lessons to video and providing it through the media, which helps to the people to stay calm and at home and think that in the future the government will take care of them. New initiative of the government about supporting each entrepreneurship and individual entrepreneurship in the families. It's actually it was supporting extra, which was started before. So each entrepreneur started covering, trying to help to those families who has the poor satisfaction in the life. So they are providing them with the work or employability at home. It's not just giving the money or supporting this extra supplies, but they are trying to involve them into the work. So according to this proverb, instead of giving the fish, they are giving the hook to everybody. If they will work and support their family first, and then will support the economy of the government as well. Of course, the same the current rules everywhere as we have, but from next week we'll start to slowly open ourselves to the economy, to the education. So we'll start working on that. But by keeping all these antiseptic and the anti-viruses situation for everybody. So everybody has to be responsible for itself. But what is, I'm very proud of that our military health people, everywhere, if you are going out without mask, they may come and say, sister, where is your mask? Sometimes you are forgetting about putting in your bag, and so this is very pleasant to hear that how they are kind and helpful. Maybe my colleagues will add something else.
Yes,
sure. The most important thing what I would like to add about the MOOC, Mega Online Open Courses. All these governmental people, including the media, they have opened all archives, which was audiobooks, online materials, video materials. So we have started loading the history, everything from the news site, and then the many talented teachers started doing their own channels, which is very, very interesting. So now we are the part of the great MOOC as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to in case he wants to add something.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to what already. Excuse me, but I can hear my own echo. It's kind of disturbing me.
No, just continue speaking. It's okay.
All right. Now it seems much better now. I'd like to first talk about my own observations, regarding what happened during the quarantine on COVID-19 in Uzbekistan, and later and afterwards I'm going to add what I personally have done and thought about it. All right. First of all, in Uzbekistan, as Firza Rashida was told, we government and the civil society has done and reacted pretty much in a similar way as the other countries, as you guys have mentioned, and I don't see too big differences in this. And I would like to, state that while the quarantine and the virus hit us with a lot of challenges, in our economy, in our social lives, and in our personal relationships as well, it also granted us with some new important opportunities. I mean, positive opportunities as well, because we universities now had incentives to invest in their e-learning capacities. But before, in Uzbekistan, or especially in the higher education sector, government or state universities didn't have much of e-learning opportunities for students. Now, most of them do, which is very good, positive outcome, I would say. And besides, as a person, I can talk, from my own perspective as a student, as a learner, as a curious person, that we used to have a lot of interesting international and local conferences on different various topics, which are incredibly interesting. But you have to go abroad and then pay the fee, right, to participate, unless you are going to go there with a presentation or a talk, right? Yeah, as a student, it would be pretty hard to cover your travel expenses and your conference expenses. But now, I've participated in a couple of conferences, especially the one which was held locally on the macroeconomics of Uzbekistan, led by leading experts, scientists, and government persons of Uzbekistan, and it was really, really beneficial. So what I'm trying to say is that the quarantine actually gave us the ability to participate in such I agree. Conferences. And the second part of my speech right now is going to focus on what I personally have done. I was really inspired by a crisis relief movement called Sahavat and Komak. It's in Uzbek, it means generosity and help. It was actually initiated by the president, but it was very immediately supported by the civil society. And as a volunteer, I joined the movement, and there was a very interesting thing or interesting reaction in the society. Once the crisis or COVID hit the society, we know that people got cut out of their incomes, for example, and a lot of people couldn't go out of their homes, and a lot of business people and entrepreneurs started to come with their own initiatives to buy or to somehow do some donations and bring those people some food and some essentials from the market. But first, it led to chaos, and then they because of this movement, they've made one big coordination center in the middle of Tashkent city, and it's
for this information.
Helps reduce the chaos at all.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We have two more participants whom I want to give the floor. We have a new participant who just joined us, Alan Demir. Alan, can you please introduce yourself, your organization, and very briefly about the impact of the virus in USA and what are the government measures? And then we will give the floor to Parviz.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me a floor. My name is Alan Demir. I'm actually calling from Michigan, close to Detroit, and the impact from U.S. perspective, it's unfortunately been different depending on which state and which location you're at. There are three biggest states that have been biggest. So the biggest impact has been New York, New Jersey, and Michigan. We're still trying to figure out why Michigan was among those. New York and New Jersey is understandably has been impacted because of the tight connections with European countries, but Michigan was still being investigated why. But at this point, it's been almost 8 weeks now. We have been under stay-at-home rules, and Michigan specifically, we started in the mid-March. And I believe what happened, people call it new normal. We got used to it, and we found a way how to live our lives under these new conditions. And I wouldn't say that 100% of the population is following the rules, but most of the people are trying. And they've, as Amat mentioned, the people just found a way how to make sure that they get their essentials. They're trying to protect themselves and their families and not to spread the disease further to others. The government, you asked about how the government is controlling it and supporting the population. Each state, there are actually two levels of governments that are coordinating the efforts. One is at the federal level and some at each state level. Each state has the governors of each state has a mandate to make some decisions that affect the states, and the federal government obviously has their own mandate. That's why because of the number of states and the different political views, there's a coordination between government, but the outcome of that coordination may be different depending where you are.
Are there any problems with food supply? Because we have seen on the news that in markets there are long queues, people trying to buy a lot of food.
I think that happened at the beginning, first week or two, when that happened. But after that, there are enough. I would say there's no issue with certain items that are disappeared, but other than that, I think you'd be able to find what you need if you go to the store. And there is a rules of social distancing, like you mentioned. There are only certain number of people can enter the store, and there's a 6 feet apart, like 2 meters apart between each customer. And but I wouldn't say there's a shortage. I know in the news they talk about there's a possible upcoming shortage because of some meat plants are probably will be closed, or there will be some delay in production.
Thank you, Alan,
but at this point, we don't see it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We give the floor to Parviz, and then we will open the floor for questions from one country to another countries, or if someone wants to add more. We still have 10, 15 minutes more. Parviz, please.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to talk mainly for Azerbaijani agriculture sector as association of the farming association. Actually, in the middle of the March, we had a quarantine regime. It's immediately affected the agriculture sector, and we didn't have any plans as what to do and what is the news will be from the government side. And so we wait the government side some news, and the quarantine regime is not allowed us farmers to make some works there, even hire workers there, and permissions for workers, hired workers. So that's why we had difficulties. And later we collected the information, all information from the farmers and sent to the Minister of the Agriculture, and they sent to the Minister of the Cabinet of Ministers. And later in the 4th of March, we had an additional agreements from the government side for the farmers and for the hired workers in the farm. Of course, the farmers are follows the rules of the coronavirus and take distance, social distance, and also how to say cleaning works and cleaning machines and everything that's people can use there. And so that's why we agreed that the people will follow the rules, and still we have no any cases in the villages that which damaged the process. And the next one which I would like to mention is about the food supply, and the supply chain is disrupted there. The reason is, you know, before due to quarantine regime, most of the people cannot visit the capital city, and the main market for the local market is the capital city. That's why the people cannot have an access here. So supply chain is disrupted there. Before, there are so many middleman people with their own car take the foods and the agriculture products to the city. So we had mainly at the moment currently these problems, because the farmers have the products on their hands, which cost very cheap, and in the markets it costs expensive because the system is disrupted. So we are hardly working on it, how we can solve it. And so this two problems I would like to mention it. Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to open the floor for questions, but please, in order to save time, let's keep the questions and answers very short. So if someone has a question, please use the function raising hands, and we will give you the floor from here. Do we see any hands? We have no questions to each other. Yes, but I think generally it was quite interesting to hear how coronavirus affected countries around the globe, from US to Israel to Uzbekistan, and it's a serious challenge for all countries. So it's our common enemy in a way, and taking measures together, I think, will help to reduce the impact of this virus to our economies and to our lives. I see the hand raised by Azamat, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to ask Hazrina, is she still here? Yes, yeah, she's here. I'd like to ask about the oil and gas sector as she works there, because, you know, as I said, I've been really thinking about what the long-term future holds. So in your situation and in your industry, is there going to be any kind of shifts in the thought of how we should organize or reorganize our energy sector?
This question was to Hazrina, so let's give her a chance to respond.
Thank you for the question. Actually, for nowadays, we don't have like any specific strategy, but we just because our company is under government, so we just following the rules from the government. So we cannot like make our own rules. Everything is already decided by the government. So yeah.
You wanted to add something to this?
Yeah, actually, I really wanted to know not necessarily what your company could do, but as a government as well, because in most countries, and energy sector is heavily controlled by government. But maybe the thing that I really want to know could be addressed to any one of you, because I'm really concerned about what the long-term future holds, because we're usually not talking a lot about, or not enough about the environmental implications, because as I've been sitting here in quarantine, I've learned interesting things about how we can put a price on carbon, as an example. And Europe is doing really, effective work on this by implementing a so-called cap and trade system. So the companies will have to buy, so-called securities, and pay to use or to emit CO2 gases into the atmosphere. And in Uzbekistan, I see nothing so far. Maybe your countries are also shifting towards more sustainable society.
Thank you very much. Do we have more questions? I don't see any hands. Yes, generally this online meeting that we are having now, it was an introductory meeting so that we know each other, we hear from each other, and I'm sure we can continue our cooperation. We plan to organize a series of more meetings, and what I also want to add, we will organize a global forum of businessmen, and you all will receive duly invitations to participate in this forum, and you will also receive agendas from us. Is there anything else you want to say at the end? We have only a few minutes left, maybe final comments, wishes, disappointments, proposals. Nothing.
I have one wish. That we will have opportunity so that to join together and have this kind of conferences in live.
Yes, let's hope for this. Of course. Firuza, please.
Yeah, now I would like to say thank you very much for organizing this conference. Our government recently, it goes a huge discussion among these all NGOs and all these social workers as us. The project of the government to at the parliament there will be NGO representatives. So kind of organization which will support especially SDGs. So I think that might be very useful for you to know. Maybe in the future, when we will organize again such kind of conferences, we can provide more information about that, which will bring to the floor to all our people who are getting their own challenges according to this situation. Yes. Anyway, this is a very, very good initiative to organize such a webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Firuza. I see the hand by Azamat.
Yeah.
Maybe last comment.
Yes. Thank you. I'm really glad that we have gathered here to discuss how to react and maybe manage a huge crisis like this that affects the entire globe. And I would really love to see similar reactions and similar thoughts on another crisis called climate crisis, because we're not really addressing to climate change as a crisis. Maybe in future conferences like this, we will discuss it more. Thank you
very much, Azamat, and taking this.
This is a very good point, actually.
Yes.
Very good point. Sorry,
yes.
Mohammed.
Yes, I would like to thank each of you for taking time to join this discussion. I hope each of us learned something new from each other's experience. We will have more opportunity to share our experience, but let's also treat network as an opportunity for us to find something useful for us to exchange our best practices, to ask questions, because we learn from each other. We are here to stay healthy together as a family. We hope that this virus will end very soon, and that we'll go back to our normal lives and take a role in increasing our economy and bring it into a better standing for the virus. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.